Thank you so much for staying tuned. Like what I said before, it's all about the UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson. Barely months into office, he's talking about law and order, 10,000 new prison places and employment of 20,000 police officers in the UK. Mind you, in case you're just so busy, you're not able to really view this program as we are here live, you can log on to our website later on, or you go to our Facebook page at www.facebook.com/ITV Radio. You get to see there. Go to our YouTube channel. Yes, you get to be part of this discussion even after the show. All right. If you want to join us live, just type on www.itvradionaija.com/live. If you're not privileged to be with a TV set, you can go through it through your phones. Okay, so we have everything covered. With me here in the studio to do justice to this talk, I have three legal practitioners. I'd like to start my introduction by introducing the fellows by my left. Yes, extreme left. Join me to welcome Barrister Osazuwa Osahon. Barrister, welcome to the show. I appreciate your coming.
It's always my pleasure.
All right. And sitting very close to him is Barrister Henry Wanzo. Barrister, welcome to the show.
Good afternoon, viewers. You are welcome.
Don't forget to mention Barrister Chima Williams. Barrister Chima, welcome.
Thank you, Wesley, for coming.
Now, let me start off with you, Barrister Chima. You've seen what is really going on in the UK. Before this man became the Prime Minister, he talked about the Brexit no deal. And now he's talking about the drive for law and order. Is it deviating from what he was supposed to do? Or this is like a clarion call right now in the UK for there to be effective policing?
Well, I think if we go back to the extremist position in quotes that the likes of Johnson took, towards the Brexit debate, one may not be totally so surprised that he is coming up with, the present position of law and order. But the question will be, for us, law and order drive, have you included justice into it? It is not just about law and order, because without justice, we have more prisons to build. So I think, and as analysts have already argued, that look, the issue that Boris Johnson had brought up of building 10,000 prison houses is not new. Way back in 2016, such issue was already there. Okay, so it just bringing up figures that had already been stated earlier on. But how and why did it fail? Why was that 10,000 prison houses not achieved? And the argument is that this is not, to take care of maybe upsurge of criminal conduct that will make people be in prison, but to create facility to accommodate and decongest the existing prison conditions in the UK. Okay? Now, is that supposed to be the solution? Because as Boris Johnson talked about the building of another 10,000 prison facilities, it is in the structures. Has he calculated, the cost of running these 10,000, prison houses? Okay? The infrastructural cost, the manpower cost. And this is a country that, some years ago, disengaged some of their prison officials. Okay? Over 40% of their prison officials were disengaged. Both those that, you know, are already experts in prison management.
All right.
And the newcomers in the system.
Okay.
Now you are building, you know, 10,000 facilities. Where are you going to manufacture or bring people that will man those, you know, prison facilities?
Good question.
That you will not come back to square one.
All right. I'll come back to you in a moment, Barrister Chima Williams. Thank you so much for laying a strong foundation for this discourse. Barrister Henry,
Yes.
Barrister Chima Williams took it to a whole new level, talking about manpower, talking about population, talking about the essence of the 10,000 prisons. Take it up from there.
Well, from my own point of view, the man said that it is long overdue. That was what Johnson himself said, that these reforms he's talking about is long overdue. These 10,000 spaces he's talking about, long before now, even the prison committee even made reference to it, that they needed 12,000 spaces. And he is talking about bringing in 10,000 spaces. These 10,000 spaces he's talking about is not purely that they are building the new prison. They will refurbish some. Some that have been decommissioned over the years, they will be refurbished. And the existing ones, equally, their facilities will be improved to enable them accommodate these 10,000 spaces they are talking about. So it is not purely that they are going to build new prisons completely. But out of it, the former ones that are existing will be refurbished. And we also find out that the man is preparing the nation towards, in case of any eventuality, trying to expand the laws that borders on issue of stop and search, looking at the high rate of crime and social behaviors, which himself talked about. You know, he made a social that there is high rate of antisocial behavior. And equally, he also hammer on the fact that it is the criminals that should be afraid of the public, not the public being afraid of the criminals. He said he wants to reverse the trend, a situation whereby it is not the people that should be afraid of the criminal. It should be the criminal. The criminal should be looking at it from the angle that if I commit this crime, there's every possibility of me being caught. So for that reason, it will go a long way in reducing the crime rate in the society. He equally was looking at it from the angle that the youth, especially the youth, he also made mention of the fact that the law itself, you know, enables them for a very short time, that those of them who are caught and sentenced, that within a short space of time they are out. But he wants a situation whereby the law will be harder on the criminal, so that they are long term. They will spend long term instead of usually sometimes short term, or maybe they will ask to do some community servicing, parole, community servicing. So, but he wants a situation whereby these serious crimes, as well as all these antisocial vices like rape, sexual assault, and all that. He said that he wants a situation whereby those people will spend longer time in custody. And this will serve as a kind of deterrent for people committing the crimes.
All right, 7 as a deterrent for persons committing crime. You talked about the criminals being afraid of the public, not the other way around.
Well, yes.
So what's your angle, Barrister Osahon Sazua, on this?
Yeah, thank you very much. The act of genuflection and deflection is as old as politics itself. And just that in recent times, we see people like Donald Trump and now Boris Johnson trying the populist move of trying to deflect attention when there are very serious issues ahead. Boris Johnson knows very well he cannot deliver Brexit come October ending, at least the Brexit with a deal. That the UK is about to crash out of the EU without a deal. And that will be calamitous, and that will cause unprecedented suffering. And so many things about to go wrong. He knows he can't get a deal. So what does he want to do now? He's trying to play to the gallery, to create commotion where ordinarily there was no commotion. Since 1995, as you said, facts are stubborn things. Since 1995, the crime rate in the UK has been falling, free falling. So there is really no need for this showmanship he has entered into. Yes, before today, there's a dire need. The UK prisons are notoriously ineffective, dilapidating, and they have serious structural defects. So it has always been true that they needed about 10,000 new spaces to meet the present demand. So that has always been there. So in now comes out like the law and order prime minister, like Trump is also posturing over there in the US, that look at the man to fix the crime, that we have crime on the streets, blah, blah, blah. But what are the facts? Crimes have been falling. So he just he's saying what the ordinarily white person wants to hear, that these colored people, they are kind of in danger, they are criminals and they need to be checked. So when they hear this, because an election is predicted to come on very soon, so that he knows he will get the vote. So that was that. He talked about stop and search, like my colleague rightly alluded to. What are the facts also? It is said that in the UK today, that a black person or a colored person is 10 times more likely to be stopped and searched by police than a white person. And that in 10 cases, only in 1 case out of 10, did they find anything that is remotely or directly incriminating. That the stop and search has a very corrosive and acidic relationship between the police and the Briton, because it is laden and laced with racist connotations, and that's always been it. So, based on these facts, prime ministers previously, they have looked at it. Even the issue of longer sentences, the facts also show that longer, stiffer penalties does not necessarily and has never led to reduction in crime itself. So those have always been the facts that have been on ground. But here we have Boris Johnson. We have this maverick. We have this person who likes to show himself. And since an election is coming, he wants to give the average white person that is a man to save them, that they can go to bed and sleep very well if he is prime minister and is retained there for a very long time. That's exactly what we have on ground, my friend.
All right, now he just opened a new chapter saying that this is just for showmanship. That is because of the election that is forthcoming. That is the reason why he's doing this. Talked about Brexit also, that he also knows that he cannot deliver Brexit. So is this for showmanship or just a distraction? Barrister Chima Williams.
Well, like the premise upon which I started, the absence of justice, creates opportunity for all manner of things to go wrong. Okay, and when you are making promises that you cannot deliver, okay, then what does it? It's just playing politics and being semantic, playing with words. Okay, so because as three of us have agreed, the issue of 10,000 more spaces did not originate or emanate from Boris Johnson. It's always been there. How come that successfully prime ministers, who have looked at this, have been unable to deliver? Because it is not just to say things without studying and analyzing the steps towards its actualization. Okay? As I said earlier, there are economic, sides of this promise of 10,000, spaces, and of course, 20,000 new police recruits. To conduct the stop and search.
Okay, now, just hold on now. Just be with that chain of thought. I'll come back to you immediately after this break. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. If you just joined us, this is International Forum. It's all about the Prime Minister. Yes, the UK Prime Minister talking about law and order drive, the building of 10,000 prisons, and of course the employment of 20,000 police officers. Barrister Chima, we were with you before we went on that break. Please continue with our train or chain of thoughts.
Okay. Yeah. As I said earlier on, did the calculation of the cost implications for actualizing this promise, was it done? And what are the, concrete steps that needs to be in place to actualize it? Did they do an analysis of why these 10,000 structures had not been built? Of course, I want to consider the other side of employment of 20,000 police officers as job creation, employment generation, okay, to get citizens, out of the streets. But if you have to employ 20,000 police officers in addition to the existing number just to conduct stop and search, okay, on citizens, do you think that that will solve the problem? And as rightly pointed out by my brother, you know, studies have shown that the longevity of prison term or the stiffness of a prison sentence has never acted as a deterrent. But the effectiveness, prison is supposed to be a place to rehabilitate, reform, and refine people. It is not totally just for punishment. So by the thinking of Boris Johnson in this presentation, it seems that his own construct of an idea of a prison is just a punishment center.
Okay.
Okay? Because if you rehabilitate those that are in custody, some of them will come out and become, you know, better citizens than they were, thereby reducing the number of, you know, dissidents and reducing crime rate and social disservice. Now, you have to look at the fabric of society to see, as pointed out my brother too, you know, that crime rates have been dropping. So will it not be better to think of perhaps social, you know, issues that will grant empowerment to UK citizens and UK residents? Because who are the prison walls going to be built for? Who are the people that are there? They are either British citizens or residents in UK.
All right, all right.
So
I'll come back to you, Barrister Chima Williams. Thank you for anchoring. Now, let me come to you, Barrister Henry Nwanza. Both of them are like saying that, according to reports and statistics, the crime rate in the UK has been dropping. There is no increment in criminal activities. Now, from what Barrister Sazuwa talked about, he talked about a turn of racism in that search. Do we see it playing out itself in what will come up shortly in Britain if 20,000 police officers and, of course, 10,000 prisons are in place?
Well, to some extent, I tend to think towards the side. But again, the man who has raised the issue, who has brought out the idea, has looked at it, because even as it were, they have earmarked £2.5 billion to enable them do that. They must have done their homework. The man himself said that it is an issue that is long overdue, which, to the knowledge of those who are in this party as well as the other party, know fully well. He even went further to say that for over the years, even the conservatives, those who have, the officers, because they have not been recruitment for a very long time. So he's using it as an avenue to ensure that more persons are recruited. And again, we'll also look at it from the angle that he is not saying that these 20,000 police officers are only going to do stop and search work. That is not the position. They are going to fill in the spaces where others who have lost their life, those who have retired, or one thing or the other. And again, he went further to what he said that, because that is the argument. Some persons have been in the argument, just as my brother here rightly said, that the essence of it, that at the end of the day, it is the blacks that they will be going after. They equally have looked at it and said that cameras will be planted on these officers to checkmate their excesses, because it's a common factor. It's just like in Nigeria here, you find, as I was coming this afternoon, police was just stopped the vehicle. I pretended as if I don't know. So the police officer was searching phones. I have a small phone. The boys came down. The officer was harassing them. Who sent this money? It's a businessman. But the young man had courage. I stood by the side, I was looking at him. The young man had courage to ask him, say, I'm a businessman, for Christ's sake. It has nothing to do with anybody you see on the road is a Yahoo. The officer was a little bit rattled. He kept quiet. Before you know, I was standing out from the side. I waited till maybe 2-3 minutes. The way they saw us where I stood, they now asked us to enter the vehicle, and we left. So what we're saying in essence is that it's not as if the stop and search does not have its own bad aspect of it. But they are using it as an avenue to check the excesses of some of the persons in this part of the world because of this high rate of stabbing. Because the issue there, the crime we are talking about is not crime in terms of maybe someone going to someone's house to rob. But they are looking at this high rate of stabbing, especially among the youth, as well as other antisocial vices that borders on the issue of sexual assault and others. That is the essence of it. Having these police officers on ground with little or no suspicion. Because they are looking at an avenue to expand the Section 60, which gives rooms to these police officers to act. And also, to some extent, to allow the inspectors, without taking a kind of authorization from the senior police officer before they act, but to assist in checking the crime rate in the society. We are not denying the fact that maybe because we are living in the world that sometimes some persons might act the other way around. But the truth still remains that the essence of it, just as the man rightly said, he said it is better you prevent the crime than allowing it to go on.
Okay, crime prevention.
Yes, that is the angle they're looking at it. To prevent crime.
It's like you have something different to say, but before you express your views and your opinion, I'd like you to also delve into this. Do you think that this is meant to send a strong message to migrants?
Yes, in a sense, our discussion now and this question, they kind of they've told, they're almost the same thing.
All right.
My colleague here, my learned senior, said something about crime prevention. That should be it. That should be it. Dr. King says something, that philanthropy is more than flipping a coin to a beggar. That ultimately it must come to see that an edifice that keep producing beggars needs to be reconstructed. There must be a structural problem with a system that impoverishes people. We must look at the root causes and not to treat individual cases. Common sense dictates that it should be so. But what do we have? It mentioned the issue of stabbing. In the UK today, in the streets of London today, we have the so-called gangs, just like we have a serious issue. And most of these gangs members, they are minorities, blacks and Asians. They belong to different sects. And for about 10 years now, successive prime ministers and leaders, they have been trying to tackle the issue from its roots. Why are youth joining gangs? Why is it that the children of the less privileged in the UK are over 10 times more likely to join a gang than those middle class or those who are well off? So they have been trying to, there have been programs that have been set up to empower these families, to teach them basic ethics. But since May came, towards the end of our tenure, and when Boris now came, they have got, just in fact, there's no more funding for those programs because they like posturing, because they want to attack individual cases so that people think they are working. And that is the issue of politics. People like to be seen, to play to the gallery, to see, to appeal to our base instincts. Security. It says self-preservation is man's first instinct. You want to be alive. So someone comes and tell you that that black dude, that Indian guy is a threat to you, and statistics show that most criminals, they are really color people because of the disadvantages they suffer initially, which the system has faced to produce. So you now begin to see them as, you now become afraid of them. You talk about that the criminal should be afraid of the public, not the public being afraid of the criminal. These are just, he knows what he's saying. Because there are conditions that impoverish you and make you more prone to joining a gang and committing a crime. And so those set of people that do these things, we know them. So you want to let the public, the average white man who is well off, whose child has almost zero possibility of joining a gang because he can take care of him, to be afraid of the gang member. Without going to the root causes, why are these guys joining gangs? What is the issue of it? Are they just born to be bad? No, nobody is born bad. It is social, economic issues that tend to shape the way we think, the way we act. And this arguments have always been at the root of most Western civilization. The issue of welfareism, the issue of does the state has responsibility to ensuring that the least advantage of us is kind of placed in a pedestal that it can stand on its feet. And the argument by the liberals has always been yes, the state has responsibility. But capitalism, in the way it was, want to maximize profits. So they tend to say, no, you must be inherently evil. They want to give you a bad name so that they can conveniently argue without their conscience pricking them. That, my friends, is the argument today. So when the liberals argue, and to an extent the Labour Party argue, that we must look at the root causes and then try to do something about it, than treating individual cases, than playing to the gallery like Boris Johnson has embarked to do now. There is a big problem. Now, to answer your question, and if you please, the question again, I think I forgot to answer.
Okay, not to worry. I'm going to the question to Barrister Chima Williams. Like what you said, they are turning towards the same direction.
Yeah.
Migrants, are they the target? Because I talked about colored people being involved in this type of crimes, and these are migrants. Is it a strong message right now to the migrants?
Yeah, you see, if you follow who is Boris Johnson's mentor at this point in time, which is my big friend, Donald Trump.
Your big friend, Donald Trump?
Yes.
Wow.
Okay? But the message is, look, America for Americans, so Britain for British. Okay? So, you that feels disadvantaged, that you take to vices, we are coming for you. And if you check the proportion or the percentage of those inmates, is majority colored people. Okay? Because of, the way the society have been structured. And this is where, I did my, dissertation on death penalty. And because of my research, I found out that has death penalty deterred people from committing heinous crimes, especially, where the social fabric is structured in such a way that some are disadvantaged and some are advantaged. Some take, undue advantage of the weakness or the weaknesses, vulnerability of others to their own advantage. And what will such society, get in return? People naturally will revolt. You can't be seeing, some are having it, everything running well, and some are in servitude. You are born into a particular line, and because of your color, because of the area you are born into, society is structured in such a way that you cannot aspire to be higher than, getting to a certain level. So people have the tendency, when pushed to the wall, to react back. So if you create a level playing field for everybody, grow at your pace, the issue of crime will be reduced.
Right.
Okay? And then you don't need to build prison yards to accommodate people. Okay? Ask the questions, or as my brother had pointed out, what is the root cause of people going into vices? And you'll be able to find the answers. The answers are lying out there. Okay? What do these gang members need? They need orientation, they need education, they need enlightenment, they need equal opportunity. That I can compete favorably with anybody. If I fail, I know that it is because I do not have the capacity personally to succeed. Not that the society has been structured in such a way, some people receive social security, okay? Others receive less or nothing. Others have to work 3 times you know, to earn a living, whereas some others don't even work at all, okay, because of their class. So the distribution of wealth in a society will determine, the pattern of the distribution of wealth in any society will determine how free such a society is or will be from vices. Okay. So you check the countries of the world that, you know, are reputed to be one of the countries that are least problematic. You check this, you know, the type of society that they run. Okay.
All right. I'll come back to you in jiffy, Barrister Chima Williams. Now, he is, or he compared Boris Johnson to Donald Trump, saying that they have the same mentality. I'm talking about migrants. Right now, Donald Trump, from what they are talking in the U.S., so that migrants that are like, you know, targeting free food, so to speak, they call it food aid. That will be the target right now for migration in the U.S. They want to work in that sector. Now, can one deduce on what is really going on right now that Britain, so to speak, or the UK, so to speak, is under serious strain economically?
From the little I know, they are not. Because if they are under serious economic strain, the man won't be talking about spending as high as 2.5 billion pounds to enable him.
Then if they are not, how come these 10,000 prisons?
The 10,000 spaces the man is talking about is what, just like what he said. He said it is long overdue that these reforms, even the people in the Ministry of Justice, equally acceded to the fact that the arrangement has been made long ago before now. Most probably it does, maybe the minister, the prime minister who has come before now, maybe they don't have the willpower to take, you know, that plot as it were. So, but himself now coming on board, saying that you have to stop the crime before it is committed. That is his own position. For a man who, just like my brother here is talking about the crime, the society, those of them migrants not having equal opportunity. To the little knowledge I have, I know Britain as it were. Those of them, Nigerians are there who work very hard. They have opportunity just as the Britons they have. There are areas where you go, you will think that it is a Yoruba village, a town in Nigeria here, because everybody you see there, they are speaking Yoruba. They understand what they are talking about.
What part is that?
What we are saying is that
He has the floor.
Yeah, you are not in your country. If you are in Nigeria, as it were, you will find that if they are not in Nigeria, they are in another man's country, as it were. So those of them who have decided to do legitimate jobs or businesses, as it were, they are boarded. Nobody will challenge them. Nobody will harass them and intimidate them. But just very few persons who have refused that crime is the only way you are. Certain persons have seen crime as a shortcut of making money. So such persons are the ones these laws are meant for. But if you live a legitimate life, maybe you travel overseas, you went to school, maybe the opportunity of having a job has not been there, but you are doing one thing or the other that is legitimate. Nobody will harass, nobody will intimidate you, nobody will think of arresting or doing it. So the government, looking at it and the angle, and most probably they want to fight migrants. I am not looking at it from that angle. Because once you are in a particular place, you obey the laws of the land, nobody will harass or intimidate you. But when you decide to do things contrary, people in this part of the world, here, take for example in Benin City, somebody, the bus driver will decide to run one way. But if he goes to Lagos, he will not even beat traffic. He will put on his seatbelt. But if it's in Benin City, he will do otherwise. So what we are saying is that if you are in a place where the law says, this is what you do, this is what you should not do, I see no reason why somebody who is in his right senses will not do that, which under normal circumstances, he or she should have done. So I am not seeing from that angle that it is purely meant for the migrants. It's equally for those who are living there, not only the migrants, because those who are living there, some persons have been in Britain all their life. The place where I go to repair my vehicle, for example, in Benin City, also off somewhere, off where the young man came back from London. He has been there, but he's into drugs. The parents now have to force and send him home. You understand what I'm talking about? So, but is he the only one there? Are there no other persons who are there who are doing very well? So what we're saying in essence is that the law itself, as I see it, it is for the benefits of the people, and I know at the end of the day it will go a long way in ensuring there is justice and fairness in the society.
All right, Barrister Osaho Osazwa, you be the last one to talk on this segment because we are pressed of time. Our time is up. Is this a kind of a staircase to a smooth victory for Boris Johnson with this analysis and what he intends to do?
He will try to get elected on his own terms so that he can put his hand to his chest that it didn't come through the back door. That it wasn't the 160,000 people that voted for him, but the whole country. He will try. But I don't know if his trying will be good enough for him to clinch it. But having said that, let me quickly say this, please. When the President of the United States referred to Baltimore as rat-infested, he knew exactly what he was saying. Baltimore is almost 98% black. My colleague here talked about some part of, you know, that they speak Yoruba. That's also the rat-infested part of the UK. Let all the blacks.
But he never called it that.
No,
he never called it that.
That is the place where the sanitation will be terrible, where government will not like to look or make investments. We have it. Let us not sit here and think and deceive ourselves. The truth is that there is the average white man is inherently racist.
All right.
No matter how good they try to cover it or to try to tell us that they are the.
Thank you.
Inherently, that's who we are. And I like Trump because he's saying audibly what the others are afraid to say.
All right, thank you so much, gentlemen. I know you have so much to say, but our time is up. We have to do some other things. I really appreciate the wonderful analysis. Let's keep watching and, of course, examining where this will take UK to. Is it going to be good for the citizens, bad for migrants, or is just a political stunt to make Boris Johnson cling longer to power? Don't forget also the Brexit deal or no deal is still very much there on the table. We'll do it again next week, God willing. Bye for now.